Hello Mudlarking Friends. Well, for pretty obvious reasons this week and perhaps the foreseeable future, we are on lockdown pretty much in the UK, so this is Mudlarking at Home with Old Father Thames. Mudlarking at home with me, yes, but I will still put some of the beloved River Thames footage that I have into this video. I'm going to let you have a great look through my collections. I haven't looked through them for a while, so we'll have a good look through and then I'll explain what some of the items are, and we'll also take a look at that coin, that blank planchette coin disc that has a counterstamp on it. I've done some research. I did think it might be a Spence token, so we'll do a little bit of history about Thomas Spence, and then we will see whether I have a Spence token or not. I'm going to get my big box of finds out, which contains lots of other little boxes, and we'll just have a good pour through. Okay guys, you can't see me at the moment because here is my finds box. This is a nice old grocer's box from Covent Garden, and it contains a lot of my finds. Right, that's a load of lead toys in there, sorted bits and bobs that I haven't looked through yet. In here we've got lots of ginger beer fragments. Even though they're fragments, I do keep ones that I particularly like the design of. There we go. See if I've got some more here. Tantalising clues on there. Oh gosh, so that's a big jar of coins. Other modern bits and bobs I haven't looked through yet. Alright, let's get out this box here. It's got 3 layers full of finds. We're going to have a look through that. Okay, what's in here? Ooh, my CB Puffin plaque. This lovely piece of brass here once belonged to a boat called the CB Puffin, and it was a transporter of timber on the Thames. You can see the date here, 25th of November 1927. The acronyms B strain and SW load mean braking strain and safe working load, which I think are Hawser wire cable limits. So they are referring to the strain that the cable, the winching cable, can take to lift timber up onto the boat. When I researched this, I remember I found 2 Puffin steamers registered, and they're metal carriers. One started off in 1900 at Liverpool and one in 1907 at Hull. I did also find a forum online with someone looking for info on the Puffin, as she has a photo of her great-grandmother aboard the ship. So I think I found this a couple of years ago, 3 years ago perhaps, and in the end, I remember the Puffin, the CB Puffin, ended up being a timber carrier. This little ID plaque here, I absolutely love it. This is one of my favourite finds ever. What else have we got in here? Oh yeah, the mystery file. It's still got something in, who knows what. But I found that intact out on the estuary. A medicine vial, maybe that has the elixir of life in it, who knows. Put that to one side. And, ooh, yes. What we have here is an incomplete pair of ship dividers, crudely hand engraved and bearing the initials IB. These date from the Georgian era, which began in 1714 and ended circa 1830-37, named eponymously after Kings George I, II and III. Now don't forget, this is the Georgian era we're looking at here, so the I could have actually stood for a J. This divider was a tool used in conjunction with charts and maps to plot navigation while exploring the high seas. This also could have been a divider used in another trade. They're always termed ship's dividers, but actually they were more commonly used in carpentry as well for measuring, and obviously we have similar tools today. I'm hedging my bets on it being a ship's divider, and I loved this find. This was a really super find for me. Sadly, it's missing one little leg there. I don't know the technical term. One half of the divider is missing. You can see that it's just, the shape of it's just jutting out. But, you know, hey ho, it's a really great find.
Never went straight. If there was a shortcut, found out too late. The things were just half cut. I buried it now, where the lid just won't stay down.
As you can see, I have quite a huge collection of finds to share with you, and since it now appears that we're going to be self-isolating for a while, what we'll do is perhaps make a little series of these going through my collections videos. I'll focus on a few items as I find them, but we'll also concentrate on a batch of my favourite pot shards and do a bit of history on the Spence Token. And also, as I said before, we'll remind ourselves of what the foreshore looks like with some clips that I have previously filmed.
Well, you could have had me practically free. You should have grabbed me. Now the currency's changed and the prices have...
So I'll just give you a quick look over what we've got here as a whole. These are some of my favourite pieces, and I've laid them out for you to see. And we'll concentrate on some particular pieces from this collection. Obviously, I'm straight in to the Bartman Bellarmine jar fragment, and you can just make out the Bartman there, the woodsman, the bearded man. There's his beard and his mouth. I think he might have been quite an angry chap, this one. And I think that's my largest piece of Bartman jar, or at least the face that I've ever found. I have never found a full face on a neck of the jar, which it's quite a strange thing since I've been mudlarking for long enough to have found one by now, but I've never spotted a whole one. In truth, I don't spend a lot of time in the pottery areas. As you'll know, I go more towards the metal and zip past the pottery as I'm walking to my next metal area. Here's another bit of Bartman neck. There are really specific pieces of pottery that I love. Obviously, we've talked about before this glazed Staffordshire slip-combed 17th century ware. This one here has got a pie crust edge, which has been crimped there. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And there you can see the zigzagging of the slip as it's been trailed. Oh dear, my cat wants to come in. Right, we're going to have to interrupt this for a cat moment. Walter! There are a few slip trailed pieces here, different colours and tones, thicker patterns. There's another, slightly more frenetic pattern going on there. You can see some tin glaze. These are all tin glaze pieces. A huge piece of Westerwald here. I should think this was from a tankard, and that looks like the top of the tankard there. I noticed that someone commented on my last video saying they're from Westerwald. This one is especially for you, big piece there. Smaller pieces. Now this piece of salt glazed stoneware Bartman jar is interesting as it has a cobalt blue splash on the cartouche there, and these pieces are a lot rarer to find. They date from a very specific time period, quite a limited time period, and it's a good day when you find one of these, a piece of this with cobalt blue. Now some pottery with writing. Some more here. Where's it gone? Printed on. Even these tiny pieces are a miniature picture in themselves. Little canvases, and this impressed flower. I love that little detail there. Let's see if I can find any other really small pieces. Ah, here we go. The candle. Possibly my favourite piece of tin glazed little vignette is this, with the Dutch fisherman. Now onto the piece you may or may not have spotted as I was going over this ceramic collage. This is, as you might have guessed, a piece of Roman Samian ware, which is also known as terra sigillata. It's basically just fancy Roman tableware. And if you just have a closer look there, you can see it's pretty fine redware. And there's some lovely decoration on the side there. It's quite glossy. And it's ever so smooth. It's a really high quality piece of pottery. You can find both plain and decorated tableware. This was made in Italy and Gaul, which was France and the Rhineland, during the Roman Empire. And the vessels have glossy surface slips ranging from a soft lustre to a brilliant glaze-like shine. The colours are normally pale orange to bright red, and they were produced in universal standard shapes and sizes. And they were sort of manufactured on quite an industrial scale. You can oftentimes find the maker's mark in the back. This is the only Roman piece I have, but other mudlarks I know have a number of Roman pieces, and some of them complete, and they do indeed have the maker's marks in the back, and you can find out exactly where they were made and which pottery made them. I almost forgot the big daddy of all my ceramic pieces is this huge commemorative musical tankard fragment. So this is Crown Devon pottery. As I say, it's a musical fragment of a musical tankard. It would have been pretty hefty. And it's commemorating the coronation of King George VI and the Queen Consort Elizabeth. And you can see here their names. And it's the 1937 coronation. You can just make that out there. It's rather a handsome piece. The musical element, the component would have sat under there. And Elizabeth, his Queen Consort. Oh dear, the cat's come to join us. Walter, what are you doing? Hello? Oh no, really? Okay, you can go. Off you go. Please go. Oh dear. Walter, what are you doing? Right. Okay. Another one of my kitsch favourites is this little fragment of Devon pottery motto ware. This was hugely popular between 1922 and 1950, and it's really easily identifiable with these slogans on the side here. They're usually navy blue, green and brown, cream, and they're quite folksy looking. They're slip trailed as well, actually. You see all this here. This is slip decoration that's been put on coloured slip before the piece has been glazed. There's quite a collector's market out there for these pieces, whole of course. They sort of go in and out of fashion, but I do like a bit of kitsch.
People who would gladly put my eyes out, that made me what I am today. My sordid past comes back to haunt me. Those ghosts won't ever go away. There are people who would gladly break my legs, that made me what I am today. Don't try to hurt me with those photographs. Don't think that I'm an easy mark. Don't fool yourself that you meant anything, and don't think you'll have the final law. Look at us now, we're talking like strangers. I've become safe, you've become dangerous, back from the dead. What did you come here for, mon amour? My sordid past comes back to haunt me. Those ghosts won't ever go away. There are people who would gladly rip my heart out, that made me what I am today. That made me what I am today. That made me.
And now for the Spence coin. Okay guys, so come on down to the top layer of my coin box, and in here is what we're looking at. A few weeks ago I went mudlarking and had a bit of a mystery find. You can see that in one of my old videos. I'll flash it up on the screen for you. Now that mystery find was a coin blank that had been counterstamped, and there it is if you can see it. So it doesn't really look like much. I knew it was something though because it has got a word punched into it. Not that easy to make out what it is, but then I saw a contact on Instagram posting about Spence tokens. The coin I found appears to have the same font written across it, and also at the same sort of wonky, slightly slanted angle that Spence used to use. So some really nice clues to get on with there. So now for a little history about Thomas Spence and Spence tokens. Thomas Spence was a utopian writer, land reformer, and courageous pioneering campaigner for the rights of women and men. Put simply, he was the leading English revolutionary of his day. Born in Newcastle in 1750, Spence was a radical thinker and doer. He was born into poverty and died in poverty, but that time in between, well, he did a fair bit of upsetting of the apple cart for the betterment of the common people. Founding a schoolroom and debating society in nearby Broad Garth, Thomas taught English, and putting his motto, "Dare to be free," into practice, he spent time cleaving a serious dent in the armour of the landed gentry in favour of a Commonwealth plan for the British people. Spence had an unbudgeable commitment to individual and press freedom, and the common ownership of the land. Tracts by Spence, such as The Rights of Man and The Rights of Infants, along with his utopian visions of Crusonia and Spensonia, were the most far-reaching radical statements of the period. So outspoken was he, Thomas also spent lengthy periods in prison on the charge of high treason. Writing in the Condor Society Journal, Alan Judd describes Spence in this way: "Whichever way you look at it, Thomas Spence was a remarkable man. You don't have to have any sympathy for his political objectives to wonder at a self-taught, working-class boy who invented a phonetic language, became a teacher of English, conceived a plan for property redistribution and radical political reform, and produced a most extraordinary series of condor tokens. His ideas lived on many years after his death in 1814 and clearly influenced 19th century thinkers such as Robert Owen of New Lanark fame. Although he is sometimes hailed as England's first modern socialist, Spence was a mortal enemy of tyranny and what he called giantism of any form, and would probably not have felt obliged to agree with later ideologies of a similar bent. So why do I keep referring to a Spence token? One of the propagandist tools employed by Spence was that of counterstamping tokens with slogans and mottos. A counterstamped coin is one that has had some additional mark or symbol punched into it at some point during its career as a circulating coin. That also includes coin blanks or planchettes. You see, coins reflect a nation and its leaders and the values that shape it and them. They can also be hijacked by individuals and organisations to place their own messages on them. And what more pointed a message carrier for Spence than the face of Mammon? By counterstamping coins with slogans such as "No landlords, you fools, Spence's plan forever," Spence could spread his word on already mass-produced items that were looked at and handled every single day. What a PR guy. So let's have another look at the token I found. All three specialists I spoke to were in agreement that the typeface used on my coin blank does indeed look a good match with the type used on Spence tokens. They also said that the wonky stamping is a good pointer. Spence pressed so many coins very quickly, coins that were produced in numbers in London. So do I have a Spence token? Well, it's complicated. The short answer is no, but to explain. Spence used a great number of dies to stamp the coins, many of which have been recorded by Alistair Bonnet, Newcastle University professor and founder of the Spence Token Society. Through absence of evidence, or in other words, that we have no existing examples to compare my token to, we cannot say that this is something we have seen before and therefore cannot guarantee that it is a Spence token. All three specialists I have been in contact with agree that we shall have to rule it out as a Spence token, although it does bear striking similarities to one. What's puzzling about it is one of the numismatists who was looking at the token has never ever seen a counter stamped token of this kind before. So we've got a real mystery on our hands still. It's quite unique. I wondered at one point if it was an Irish planchette, slap token planchette. But other than that, I mean, I just can't work out what it says. I think it looks like Reclea or something like that, or it's a real puzzle. But the thing about it is, it meant something to someone, and it had a purpose. And in my Q&A that I did recently, I said that I don't get too hung up about not knowing what something is or the reason for it, and actually this token's really bugging me. So if you guys can help in any way, do leave a comment below and let me know what you think, because I'd love to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, what a puzzle.
With those photographs, don't think that I'm an easy mark. Don't fool yourself that you meant anything, and don't think you'll have the final law. Look at us now, we're talking like strangers. I've become safe, you've become dangerous.
Still no update on the potential 17th century grave marker. Let's hope we hear back this week. A Fines Liaison Officer from the Portable Antiquities Scheme and a member of the Citizen Molar Scheme went to the estuary to go and have a look at the stone. I've not heard back from them yet, but fingers crossed we'll hear back very soon, and I will, of course, let you know. You will be the first to know, apart from me, about the stone. Okay guys, well thanks very much for watching this mudlarking at home with old Father Thames. I hope to be back out on the foreshore soon. Not sure when I will be able to, but you know, fingers crossed. I think we're all in the same boat. So thanks as ever for watching. Stay tuned for the next update. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much. And I'll see you all soon.